following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host. They call me the koala bear of Wall Street. In fact, they don't call me that. I'm trying to start that. And I think there's some kind of unwritten rule that you can't start your own name. But since it's unwritten, you can't find it. So you don't know if it's unwritten because no one's ever written it down. It's kind of a catch-22. But I digress. There's another one. I'm going to start getting a little piggy bank here and starting like a swear jar and put in my digressing illegal or ill-gotten funds in my digressing piggy bank. But interesting day out here. Thought that we'd probably go up to about 2038. I really didn't have any positions on for the indexes. Of course, we covered the VIX the other day and took the money and ran. And I actually have something. I thought about that the other day, so I figured I had to go get this. Go on, take the money and run. So I'm going to play that anytime I take the money and run from now on. But I didn't really understand, and of course with options expiration coming in yesterday, today, I didn't really understand where the market was going. But it blew through the 2038, which should have been the first resistance, just gapped over it, went up here. And looking at the options, looks to me like I think two things are setting up. I think the Fed knows that they're going to start raising rates. And at the same time, they've got a market that they participated in and greatly inflating it and creating their own bubble. Well, they want the air to come out of that bubble about as fast as the general market, and actually the economy tends to increase. The idea was eventually the economy will get to where the market is today. My thought is that they are ignoring all recorded history when it comes to financial enterprises, but maybe they are the first time going to prove somebody wrong. Just because it goes a few years does not mean that it is over. But what I do suspect is no matter what, even if they're wrong, they're not going to let all the air out of the balloon with a needle. They're going to just kind of let it make those nasty sounds, kind of when you blow up a balloon and just let the air out just a little. You know what the kind of sounds I'm talking about. The ones that you can't say that aren't yours in the elevator. So they're going to try that for a little while. And my guess is that you're going to see real trouble to the downside if you are playing options where, especially the last few days, the option premium price is still high on a great deal of what's out there. It hadn't really fallen. Why the VIX has kind of fallen down, the options are still trailing a bit, let me put it that way, in what's happening out here. So at least to this point right now, if I could see the VIX, let's take a quick look at it here. Where's it at here? 1743. If I could see the VIX get back down under 14, I think I would think about buying options. But at the moment, I'm more than willing to sit on the sidelines and maybe play more like ETFs. We actually got to my target today where I thought that the risk reward was enormously good for shorting. We added some positions in all the newsletters today. But we got about, 12 points higher than the S&P right now to tell us that we're probably going to go back and retest the high. So the risk reward's pretty good here. Going over 2070 would probably push this thing over the edge, and the magnetism would probably, like a black hole, I'm going to mix some metaphors here. I'm going to win some more awards this year. Not just the digressing award, but the mixing metaphor award. I'm going for that one the year too. Anyway, I think we're probably pretty close here. You've got probably about 12 points higher for the risk out here. Anyway, I picked some fairly interesting possibilities out of the marketplace, but I'm thinking that this is going to be a slow pullback, probably back to the 1822 level. And if you've got options that decay real quick, you may not capture all the money you think you may get out of what we've got coming back, if I am right. But like I said, we're pretty close here to some decent risk reward. If we closed over 2070 on the S&P cash, I would suspect that you're more than likely, instead of less than likely, to go back and retest the highs. Now, listening, of course, I listen like CIA agents to supposed agents coming over from in the Cold War, and that is, I figure 90% chance that they're lying about at least some stuff. Probably 80% chance they're lying about everything. And maybe they were sent over to spread a lot of disinformation and get us to go start chasing our tails. But just a few things that are, to me, are very interesting, and that is that we see the dollar index once again hitting new highs. What are we at here? 92.29. So we're going to probably most likely close solidly above 92. I see nothing in the way, now that we've broken through 92, to going higher, and that may be 98, if you can believe that. I know that there's probably good arguments on either side. It's just hard for me to see in at least the movements in currencies before, that you don't get, it just starts and it just never seems to stop until everybody is totally wigged out. And I hear too many people that think that this is overdone, the Fed's going to step in, everything else. And my guess is that they are not. They're going to let this run back up. And Andy Heck, of course, is going to be on here at 5 o'clock. I think he had a nice piece out on Seeking Alpha about dollar parity. We played a little clip from Raoul Paul last year, and I guess I'll play it again because I do have it all queued up here.
You're seeing a pretty massive decline over the next couple of years. That's your call.
Again, the probability is, it's not the certainty, it's no crystal ball, but
Sure.
if we start breaking these kind of levels of maybe 121, you're taking out every single person who's ever bought a euro in the last 7 or 8 years. So everybody's making a loss. So in which case, what you get is the high probability of a liquidation event. Now, if that's the case, and knowing what we know about using our fundamental analysis too, for me, it looks like the euro could go to 80 cents against the dollar.
And that could be in the next couple of years.
And of course, Andy, I think, is just talking for parity, and Raoul has got a little longer view. He's kind of, I think Andy's using some binoculars. This guy's using a telescope. But 80 cents on the dollar, that would be quite the move in currency. And I think I talked about it for about 30 minutes, so I'm not going to last right around the beginning of December. Raoul, that's R-A-O-U-L-P-A-L, if you want to Google him. Pretty smart guy. He was one of the few guys that actually makes any sense to me, and I didn't know a whole lot about him, and listened to his interview about 30 minutes on CNBC back in that day, and I thought, boy, this guy makes more sense than anybody I've heard in about 6 months, at least on CNBC. Of course, I have to exclude all people here at TFNN who are just a little better than average and always just a little smarter than average. Probably because we don't have to go on CNBC every day and come up with something. But anyway, pretty good, interesting discussion goes back to it. You can look up, probably find his videos online where he was discussing why. But it made more sense to me than anything else. Andy's kind of got a different view about it, but basically same result. So I can see many people coming to the same conclusion, maybe via different roads. But certainly very interesting to me in this kind of action that everybody can't wait to get back in. Everybody can't wait to buy crude. Everybody can't wait to buy everything. And just a total dismissal about any chance of any risks in this market. My guess is that they're fairly good. Had some comments in the email, and you can, of course, always email me at path@tfnn.com. Questions about why I thought that the Keystone thing was so important. And I guess in a microcosm yesterday, I probably didn't make that big a deal, or at least I didn't think I did. But to me, there was something that just gnawed at me for it, and I really didn't think about it until after the show. But it just was drawing and making me mad. And it was that... it was almost identical to the scenarios in Atlas Shrugged. I don't know how many people have read that book. I know a lot of people read it and go off running mad, especially older adults, especially people that live in big cities. They can't stand anything that even starts to creep into their comfort zone. But I thought it was an amazing book. When it came out, it basically alienated everyone. I don't care if you were left or right or anything else. We have some fairly deep seated beliefs that come from the puritanical side of founding of this country. And she basically rattles those to the core in Atlas Shrugged. But we've seen a little bit of that already. And of course, if you've never read it or never listened, don't watch the movie. It's horrible. The book is not a fantastic book in itself. It's a good book, but the philosophy in it is rather amazing. And basically, if I boiled it down, it would be this, that Bill Gates is going to help a lot more people because he was able to raise a fortune and then give it away than someone taxing you for every extra dime you have so that you never are able to get to the level of a Bill Gates and then give it away. And the idea is that you should feel guilty if you don't. And she says that you shouldn't. Your right is the same rights that you should grant to someone else, that your life shouldn't be led and basically lived for somebody else. You should live your life yourself. And if you want to be gratuitous, probably not a good word, altruistic is what she says. But if you want to be generous with your money to others, that's certainly up to you. You should not go around making other people upset because they don't. And if you keep your money and build a big company, those people are going to have jobs. And isn't that just as good as anything else? Anyway, the whole thing about the trains and pipelines made me think so much of parallels in that book. I recommend you reading it highly. We'll be back in a minute, start getting into a little bit of news, and then get into a lot more charts.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Check out the new look of Tiger TV. Now you can see all hosts, charts, and computer screens live in high definition. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, David White, Larry Pesavento, Andy Hecht, Thinkorswim, or Carol Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV. Now, crystal clear in high definition, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't seen the new look of Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And always we like to start off the show with a little bit of history.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1973, the Reserve Fund, the first money market fund, opens the day after an article in the New York Times reveals the radical features of the overnight mutual funds for surplus assets. A yield more than 50% higher than a bank account, plus daily income dividends and redemption privileges and a constant net assets value per share. By the end of January, the fund has $1 million in assets. By year end, it has $500 million and is the start of the money market fund business this day in 1973. I think we always think these things and these products have been around forever. As always, you can catch out Jason Zellwig's blog posting, but this is where I find him. He's got some pretty good economic journalism, keeps pretty good stuff on his website like this, and I recommend checking it out highly. Up in smoke. Wow. Certainly today is a big day, and that is because we're finding a lot of people in Silicon Valley starting to pour huge amounts of dollars into the marijuana trade. Peter Thiel, who's one of the PayPal mafia guys, that's the guys that cashed in monstrously huge in the eBay buyout of PayPal. But him and a few others, he's got a startup fund out there, and it is actually very interesting that they're starting to dump money into it. I actually, on the opposite side of this trade, I put my money into a startup for detecting the presence of marijuana, because I suspect that just like we have a lot of people out there today driving around drunk, we're going to have a lot more people driving around high in the near future. And I'll get into the law enforcement side of this, but I put some of my ill-gotten shekels to work on finding out on a way to actually test the levels of THC in people's systems. So we'll find out. But imagine there's some money to be made in many other ways of going on out here of this. Of course, one of the things I have brought up before is that Kramer has been pushing a huge pharma company that's been in this business for a while. It's GWPH, if you haven't heard about it. I think I've talked about it a few times. What else can you say? It had a huge day today. It was actually down to $50 pre-market. Somebody came in and bailed this thing out early in the morning. Not exactly sure what's going on here. The news was horrifically bad for them in some of their tests, and people are buying it up anyway. It may just be one of these stocks that no one cares about what the reality is. The news was horrific. I could see this thing trading down to $10. Maybe it was something that no one thought was going to come out, and all these people that are heavily invested in this thing are going to try to drag this thing out and dole it out piecemeal. But maybe they'll get better news. But they had a few. They're one. In fact, I think the only pharmaceutical company with a license to work on marijuana for medical purposes, actually making a pill, not smoking it or something. They've got some things that are pretty big. This thing was up at about $96 not that long ago, because of course Kramer was pumping the living daylights out of this thing. August 27th, 2014, $96.67. So down in the $65 range. In fact, it got down to $58.16 on October 16th. But kind of interesting. Anyway, kind of very different action. And of course, there's only about 2 or 3 days to cover in this stock. So I'm going to watch it very closely. It has had huge short interest in it when it was up there at 96. I think everybody figured out this thing was had troubles. But you may want to watch this thing. It may be that just so many big fish are in this particular stock that they're going to hold it up and try to distribute it and act like the news that came out this morning didn't come out. Or maybe the news is wrong, but it's very tough for me to see a stock that was trading at 50 pre-market when the news came out to see it run back up and much higher today. Maybe there was a lot of people that recently went shorted or something, but I'm going to watch this closely. There's something rotten in Denmark on this one, and probably going to be a lot of money to be made. Either this thing is going to go into full tilt boogie balloon mode, or maybe it's going to be a lead balloon. Anyway, when we come back, we'll get into some more charts out here and some more news on some of these stocks that are moving. And I'll take your phone calls at 877-927-6648.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's Nadex.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we'll get back here a little bit to what we're talking about. Anyway, GW Pharmaceuticals, take a look at it. Wanted to get into some of these other stocks that we got a deal in. Archer Daniels Midland out here. Actually, not a bad looking chart. If you wanted to buy it on this gap up, we'll have to see how volume comes in. I would have liked volume to actually dry up a little bit, but kind of interesting out here. You had the nice gap up on November the 4th, 5.3 million shares. And I don't know what else you can say about that. Popped up on 5.3 million shares. So we'll have to figure out what's going on that. It's not that light a volume, but I mean, it came back to the gap, and so far, looking kind of interesting out here, at least in a higher trading range. Not enough meat on the bone for a trade for me. Andy has a comment in. I like ADM. It's crush spread play, and it's the crush is excellent. More grains in 2014. I think he'll talk about that in his 5 o'clock hour. He just instant messaged to me. So that is, what else do we have going on out here? Get back to Apollo. Now, this has been one of the living dead stocks forever, Apollo Education Group, and I want to thank Tom O'Brien for tipping us off to these things blowing up many years ago. And part of that was that these companies were, of course, for-profit education, and they were taking a lot of liberties with drunks and winos and signing them up for college degrees when they could never ever pay these loans back, never ever spent a day in the classroom, and of course. I don't know if anybody went to jail. Certainly, probably not enough people went to jail on this deal. But you had a pretty clear indication this thing went back up into the candle that it had back on April 1st, $35.23. Had 5 million shares there, and then it really kind of blew itself apart. Came back up to $34.55 on December 23rd with 1 million shares, and that was about it. And this is exactly what I like to see on my Power Law vector indicator number, although I didn't catch this one. I guess you probably would have had a play for the earnings. I didn't feel like it. These guys have kind of, I think they have an economy with the truth, as they like to say in Britain, with the way that the books are kept. Anyway, this thing came down with a 5.5, came up with a 3.6 on this last leg back from 23.30. So there didn't want a lot of energy in it, but to me, that's normally a good sign that things are probably gone. But this is one of the living dead stocks. Most of these other ones like Cocoa and many others have found, I think, a floor down in the pennies. I'm kind of surprised they've been able to keep this one going as long as they have, but of course down on heavy volume today, and my guess is probably coming back to this $23.30 from the October 15th low. What else do we have going on out here? BMO Financial, not much in that. GPN. Nice pop on that. This is Global Payment Systems. If you're not familiar with this stock, beat Q2 by 7 cents and raised FY fiscal year 15 guidance. It was up about 7-8%. Pretty good. It's got a lot of volume, and it is challenging this previous November 28th high, $86.71. Hasn't gotten there yet. But we'll see what's going on out here. So, what else do we have? Okay. Impacts, I guess that's Impacts Laboratories, IPXL, another one that's popping out here today, got to $36.09, but certainly blowing out this consolidation range that goes back into March of 2014. On this one, we'll find my list here. What is this? IXPL. Announced that the FDA approved its drug for Parkinson's disease. My guess that it's kind of interesting that it didn't have more volume. And of course, this thing did have kind of an interesting almost test of the low, boy. This would have popped up on my radar here if it would have tested that October 4th low that had a lot of volume down here at $22.12. 1.5 million shares. Got back into it with 60,000. All right, yeah. So not a lot of volume retesting, actually 600,000. So maybe 1/3 of the volume. Maybe that was all it needed on that bad click down on September 16th, and it's done nothing but pretty much go up since then. So it is kind of interesting out here. Pod lowered its Q4 revenue. That's Insulet Company. And I think these guys make, if I'm not mistaken, make an insulin kind of pump of some kind. Yeah, insulin infusion systems for people with insulin-dependent diabetes. One of the executives also took off today and put some pressure on this thing, down with huge volumes. Your next major low out here comes in at $35.58. You're kind of back into the last day with a volume, and that is the 6th of November. Yeah, 1.3. Let's call it 1.4 million shares. We got 2.8 today, so that does pretty much open up that $35.58 low out here. What else do we have? SHLD, Sears Holding. What do we have going on out here? Apparently, a couple people in the den say that the market is moving on me. 2063 on the S&P cash. I'm not going to get too excited about 3 points higher just yet. That 2070 area is kind of where I'm looking at. That probably is going to be the divining rod on whether my trades work out or not. Anyway, Sears Holding, a nice little pop out here today on Sears Holding. I don't know if it means a lot. Not a lot of volume out here on this thing. Jumping after the owner actually bought, an insider bought some shares at $30.97. Yeah, $370,000 worth. I don't know if that's enough to move the needle on it, but maybe somebody thinks he knows something and they're trying to follow. But not a lot of volume in Sears out here today, although a nice pop in this thing in a downtrend may have been enough to get a lot of people starting to cover. This one is perpetually short a huge amount of shares, like 10 or 15 days to cover. So a lot of times it doesn't take any kind of news at all to move that stock. Signet Jewelers actually had some decent news. SIG is the symbol on this one. What do we have? Reported holiday comps at 3.6%, reaffirmed Q4 EPS at almost $3, but don't like it anyway. Down on some decent volume. Hadn't really broken through the previous low of December 17th at 123.91. It's also got a gap there that's acting as support when this thing gapped up on the 25th of November with 4.7 million shares. So probably going to take a little bit more time to bust through this low if it is going to do it. But didn't like earnings out here. Constellation Brands, they had some good news out here. What do we have on Constellation Brands? Maybe I can find this thing somewhere. I know it's in here. Tesco. Oh, it's STZ. Beat Q3 consensus estimates by 9 cents, raised fiscal year 15 EPS, and driven by strong beer business and shipment volume. And nice pop out here. And of course, if you are bullish on the market long term, you'd want to be putting about 103 on your calendar out here and seeing if this thing can come back and fill this gap on lighter volume and then maybe pick that off. But certainly, I'm going to say the volume to me is kind of light. You've got a nice big high volume day on July 2nd that had 5.7 million shares. This thing's kind of been toying around up here with that. Yeah, I think you, with a gap this size, 2.5 million shares, good. We'll have to see how this closes out. Maybe just a little light in the volume department there, but may mean it pulls back and fills that gap just a little quicker. Tractor Supply, another good retailer out here with some decent news, and it was upgraded by Deutsche Bank. It was up about 5% earlier today, up at the highs. Going to be light on volume, though. Had the December 31st high, $79.69, 1.7 million shares, coming in with 1.2 so far. So we'll have to see how this closes out the day also. And again, you can call me at 877-927-6648. Let's see what else. And you can always email me at path@tfnn.com if you have something else to look at. So anyway, that's pretty much what's moving out here in the market. I'm going to take a look at some of the stocks that I've been watching today and see how they responded to the move. The Arcadia Healthcare System, this thing had been bouncing all over this gap where it gapped up on the 30th of October. It gapped up on 1.7 million shares. Last few days, looking pretty good. 400,000 shares, 322,000 shares yesterday, 283,000 shares right into this gap, and a nice little pop up here. Not a lot of volume today, though. So again, I'm thinking that some of these things out here could have some issues. What else do we have out here? GEO, another one hanging up here at the highs. This is a REIT. But kind of interesting to see this one up here with such a light volume. I haven't checked for earnings or any announcements on news on this thing, but it's kind of bucking up against its high. It's been a penny underneath that high, the November 10th high at $41.66. January 6th, $41.65. 450,000 shares out here. And what else can you say about that? Half the volume. Got to be keeping an eye on that. GLNG, Golar LNG Limited. Of course, no one likes these LNG stocks at all. Let me make sure about this one and the way it's set up. But actually might be making a bottom out here. So you might want to take a look at midstream liquefied natural gas, engaged in transportation, regasification, and liquefaction of LNG, liquid natural gas. But not a lot of these things have been doing something. I think maybe it could base out here for a little longer. So I don't think that this is some kind of V bottom out here. I don't like the fact that the energy kind of picked up and moved out here, which makes me think that you might see some more consolidation between this $30 and $35 range. But an interesting stock nonetheless. If you want to go do some bottom fishing out there, some catfishing, and I don't mean by catfishing like MTV catfishing, I mean catfish, where you go down and you just grab the things off the bottom. I think there's a name for that, but I don't know what it is. But it is interesting. And what else do we have? Chart Industries. Some of these stocks are making some lows out here, and volume is light. But again, this is another one where it did have a bounce, and then the energy did get just a little bit more on the way back down, but the energy at these lows is not higher. Chart Industry symbol is GTLS. When I look at this thing at million shares for the $30.61 December 16th low, we had 630,000 shares on January 6th. Yesterday, 487. Today, 333. And it's making a little doji out here. Maybe we got some setups, at least for natural gas, where at least some of these companies surrounding that sector might be finding at least a temporary bottom out here. Halcyon Resources, HK is another one of these companies in the energy sector, I believe. Let me pull up this. Independent energy company engaged in the acquisition, exploration, and development of onshore oil and natural gas properties. So, yeah, there's so many of these energy companies. Let me clean up my desktop just a little bit here. But, you know, not bad volume. Again, I don't like the energy on this last leg down, but that means that maybe you've got 2 or 4 weeks of these things bouncing around. You get another low test of the volume, but also the leg going down into that. Showing a little less energy, and we might find some kind of bottom in some of these energy sectors. I'm not thinking right now that we've got that, though. Lincoln Electric Company. This is just kind of an interesting one. I don't know a lot about it. I'm going to have to check out later. It was kind of interesting. December 17th low, $65.64, 700,000 shares, 300,000 shares yesterday, and you get a little bounce out of it, which is, if you're looking for a little bounce, there's a few of these things out here, but I like that this was one of the few ones where the energy in this last leg was a little less, at least, than the bounce, and maybe we can want expecting a little bit more out of some of these other companies around the building sector. This one I like. I mean, this one is actually good looking chart out here. Mercado Libre, MELI. We'll talk more about it when we come back. You certainly have the ability to give me a call at 877-927-6648. And you can email me during the break at path@tfnn.com.
How would you feel if you had a powerful decision-making tool that has the ability to find high-probability trading opportunities across multiple time frames in equities, currencies, and futures? Search no more. Take advantage of the best trade with the TAS Profile Scanner. Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to help them make the best and most accurate decisions. Scan over 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments for high-probability trading setups utilizing the TAS architecture. As Seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time, for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. Subscribers will also gain access to the December 9th workshop with John Logan. There's no obligation to pay anything. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy. A set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
We're going to get into Mercado Libre here in a minute. But we're printing out here on the S&P cash at 2062, 2.6 billion shares, which tells me that we're probably about 500 million light for the day right now. So maybe volume comes in at the end of the day, or maybe we see it in the next couple of days. But I don't see anything to be worried about out here. I don't see any kind of blowout coming out in this market, especially with, we should be... we should be having somewhere around 3.1 billion shares right now, and no, we don't have it. Also been, as we said at the beginning of the show, looking at options quite a bit, and they basically tell me that I don't have a lot to worry about to the upside. There may not be a great deal of downside in the next 7 to 8 days, but I think that there's some. So I'm going to go ahead and plant my flag already. But I think we might have a kind of a quiet but slightly down next 7 or 8 trading days, at least what I'm betting on at the moment. Mercado Libre, there are some of these stocks that, this thing broke out with volume on the 31st of October. It's been slowly moving its way back down into this gap. Not saying that you should pick it up right here, but actually not a bad looking stock. You broke out with almost 3 million shares. You're back in here with like 300,000 shares. If you are fast with your fingers, watch where that finger's been. You might be watching this one for an intraday bounce out here to make some money on it, but it doesn't look too bad. I like to see this thing at about 118, filling this gap just a little bit more out here, but nothing really bad out here. Not a lot of volume on the back side of this thing, so not a bad looking chart out here. SDRL. If I can get this thing to come up. Seadrill Limited. Again, some of these energy stocks starting to show at least some level of volume shrinking. Not saying that these things make a V bottom. I'm thinking more of a U bottom the way these things came down. But Seadrill Limited, SDRL, you had a 19 million share low back here on December 15th at $10.55. We've gone underneath that. We're still underneath it. You really want this thing to pop back into the trading range, but I would not be surprised to see it back into the trading range. But of course, we could wake up tomorrow and see crude down another $5. So kind of a high risk trade maneuver out here. So we'll keep an eye on that. Other things of interest out here. Do I have one more? I've got one more. We'll take a look. WRC Worldwide, this thing had a little gap out here with some volume, same kind of setup. Popped on 3.5 million shares on the 31st of October. Been trying to work its way back in here, and it is back in here. Not a bad looking chart out here compared to that 3.5 million shares to yesterday's 680,000 shares. Not bad. I'm trying to remember what this thing does exactly. I kind of vaguely remember. Transportation services primarily in the North America. It's freight segment offers services for transportation of industrial, commercial, and retail goods such as apparel, appliances, automotive parts, chemicals, and food. Kind of interesting with all the super low gas prices. These guys can't make some cash. Chart looks pretty good, though. So I have to probably keep an eye on this one. This is all the stuff that I normally look at, and you can find these charts in my daily newsletter each morning. And you can, if you haven't done it, you can always go get a free trial of it by going to the front page of TFNN. In the meantime, I'll see you tomorrow, same bat channel, same bat time. And remember to sell when you can, not when you have to, and also cover when you can, not when you have to. Hang on for 2 hours to Tom O'Brien, and then Andy Heck, our commodity guy. We'll see you later.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.